All right, viewers, this is the political future of the state of Maharashtra. A Chief Minister and Deputy CM taking oath with so many twists and turns that this is nothing short of a political thriller of sorts. Eknath Shinde, in a massive twist which nobody could even guess, was announced as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra by none else than the man who's standing right next to him, Devendra Fadnavis. Devendra Fadnavis, exactly 2 hours ago, said that I am going to be assisting this government from the outside, and viewers, within an hour and a half he finds himself taking oath as the Deputy CM of the state of Maharashtra. What made that happen? It was a last minute inclusion. You had JP Nadda, you had the Home Minister Amit Shah all coming out, tweeting out, suggesting that Devendra Fadnavis would be taking oath as Deputy CM as well. This has gone down to the wire. Nobody could have guessed the kind of political thriller that it's been. The final chapter, the climax of it, with the oath-taking ceremony by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde, and the Deputy CM, Devendra Fadnavis. Who would have thought that this would have gone down the way it has? What an evening of royal Rajniti it's been. Now the Prime Minister has also tweeted congratulating the new government. It's going to be there, hopefully, for the next 2.5 years. The Prime Minister has tweeted. Let's quickly cut across and play that tweet for our viewers. Prime Minister Modi tweeting out, congratulations to Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji on taking oath as Maharashtra Deputy CM. He's an inspiration for every BJP Karyakarta. His experience and expertise will be an asset for the government. I am certain he will further strengthen Maharashtra's growth trajectory. It's very interesting. Viewers, if you look at just the politics at play, you have the Prime Minister tweeting out congratulatory messages to Devendra Fadnavis, who's taken oath as Deputy CM, mind you, and one must, at this point of time, underline the word deputy, the operative word Deputy CM. Not just the Prime Minister, right before that, you have the Home Minister tweeting out, saying that it would be Devendra Fadnavis who would be taking oath as Deputy CM. All of this, just an hour ago, the stage was set by Devendra Fadnavis himself, who said that the CM is going to be Eknath Shinde. I'm going to be assisting the government from the outside. Well, that's not happening. The man who's been twice the Chief Minister of the state of Maharashtra, one full term and the other one just about 80 days, today has taken oath as Deputy CM. And the Prime Minister coming forth and congratulating Devendra Fadnavis. Well, one must say that Devendra Fadnavis has been the man who's been doggedly at it as the leader of opposition in the last 2.5 years, not let the government breathe. And on the other hand, in 2019, nearly staged a takeover, a coup of sorts with Operation Lotus, but the government didn't last more than 80 days as Chief Minister. He had to step down, and today he's taken oath back as Deputy CM though. At that point of time, he said he will be back. Well, he's back. He's managed to do possibly what many in the Shiv Sena at one point of time would call the unthinkable. Because on the other hand, Eknath Shinde, the man you see on your television screen on the left-hand side, who took oath as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, was the one who did for the Shiv Sena in terms of splitting the Shiv Sena really down to the middle, or rather 2/3 of the Shiv Sena, which Narayan Rane couldn't do, which MNS leader Raj Thackeray couldn't do. Eknath Shinde did that, successfully stitched together a coup. MLA by MLA came to join him in stitching that coup to perfection, flying from Surat to Guwahati, and today Eknath Shinde finds himself in the chair of the Chief Minister. On the other hand, Devendra Fadnavis, the Deputy CM, and all of this, viewers. Now let's now look at the Shiv Sena and Uddhav Thackeray. Let's hark back to 2 days, that emotional speech that was given by Uddhav Thackeray, where he had asked the rebel MLAs, will the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra be a Shiv Sainik? Well, it is a Shiv Sainik. In all technicality, practicality, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is a Shiv Sainik, and Shiv Sena is back in command where Maharashtra is concerned, but of course not with Uddhav Thackeray, but now the new leader Eknath Shinde. But Deputy CM Devendra Fadnavis, a lot of politics to read into that. Was he coerced into taking the post? Because clearly, an hour and a half ago, when he addressed the press conference, he didn't seem to suggest that he would be taking over. It was a last-minute addition in terms of even the third chair was put forth for him at the last minute. What you see on your left-hand side, viewers, are visuals coming in from Goa. The rebel MLA faction, 39 of them from the Shiv Sena in Goa, stationed still there, alongside 9 independent MLAs watching Eknath Shinde taking oath, many of them elated, celebrating. Some even broke out dancing when the name of Eknath Shinde as Chief Minister was announced. Let's listen in. Let's try and dip into the ambient sound that is coming in from Goa, the hotel there where all of these rebel MLAs are holed up. All right, chants of Eknath Shinde ki jai, Bharat Mata ki jai, all of that coming in from Goa. But these images right bang in the middle, viewers, one must also, at this point of time underline that Eknath Shinde is a mass leader, enjoys huge amounts of support, especially where Thane, Kalyan is concerned. These visuals are coming from Thane. He's looked at as this benevolent mass leader, pretty much a Robin Hood of sorts, and enjoying cult status where Thane is concerned. Even Kalyan, his son, Eknath Shinde's son, is an MP from Kalyan. So massive support in that belt coming in for Eknath Shinde. It remains to be seen, will it also, now he is the Chief Minister, transcend to the flag-bearing Shiv Sena cadre. All right, let's cut across, viewers, because so much has happened in just a few hours today. The Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde, has himself a last-minute deputy as no one else, but twice Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, who takes oath as his deputy. Lots of twists and turns in this political thriller. Is it all done? Well, you never quite know. But right now, this was the climax. But let's take you through the course of the day.
यांना भारतीय जनता पार्टी समर्थन देईल आणि श्री एकनाथ शिंदे हे मुख्यमंत्री होतील.
It's a googly that will put the best spinners in the game to shame. The BJP appointed Shiv Sena rebel Eknath Shinde the new Chief Minister of Maharashtra. The announcement was made by the chief contender and favourite for the post, Devendra Fadnavis.
हिंदू हृदय सम्राट बाळासाहेब ठाकरे यांनी मांडलेलं हिंदुत्व भारतीय जनता पार्टी सातत्याने जे हिंदुत्व आणि राष्ट्रीयत्व मानताय आणि सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं माननीय पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र मोदीजी यांनी जे विजन दाखवलंय ते विजन पुढे नेणारं.
The coup within the coup was a secret till Fadnavis dropped the bombshell right after meeting Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari. The bold gamble by the BJP has added insult to injury and arguably checkmated Uddhav Thackeray, who now stands cornered in a party founded and nourished by his father. Fadnavis's address to media was replete with references to Bala Saheb Thackeray.
हिंदू हृदय सम्राट शिवसेना प्रमुख बाळासाहेब ठाकरे यांनी आज जन्म ज्यांचा विरोध केला आणि ज्यांनी हिंदुत्वाच्या विचाराचा विरोध केला, स्वातंत्र्यवीर सावरकरांचा विरोध केला, अशा काँग्रेस आणि राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस सोबत त्या ठिकाणी युती केली आणि भारतीय जनता पक्षाला बाहेर ठेवलं.
50 आमदारांनी जी लढाई या ठिकाणी लढलेली आहे, जे एक वैचारिक भूमिका घेऊन, बाळासाहेबांच्या हिंदुत्वाची भूमिका घेऊन, किंबहुना आमचे धर्मवीर आनंद दिघे साहेबांची जी काही शिकवण आहे आम्हाला, जिथे अन्याय होतो तिथे आवाज उचलणं आणि अन्यायाला वाचा फोडणं हे करण्याचं काम या 50 आमदारांनी केलेलं आहे.
The new arrangement will help the BJP in many ways, believe political pundits. It can easily wash its hands off any mess that might be created in future, even as it is in a position to run the government by remote. The BJP can claim it was not hankering for power. And most importantly, if Uddhav fails to make a comeback, the BJP could take the Sena space and become the one and only claimant to the Hindutva plan.
पालिकाओं के चुनाव को मद्देनजर रखते हुए मुझे लगता है कि शायद एकनाथ शिंदे साहब का चयन इसीलिए किया गया है। रिमोट कंट्रोल के माध्यम से पूरा अधिकार नागपुर के पास होगा, ऐसी व्यवस्था भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने करके रखी है।
आणि श्री एकनाथ शिंदे हे मुख्यमंत्री होतील.
Heads I win, tails you lose. The decision to make Eknath Shinde the CM can be safely called a masterstroke. How so much cliched it might sound. This round has gone to the BJP. Will this mean political vanvas for the Thackeray's? With Sahil Joshi in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Whatever it means for the Thackeray's viewers, it's changed the game literally for Eknath Shinde. He finds himself in the Chief Minister's chair. A confidant of Balasaheb Thackeray will take, as what he says, Balasaheb Thackeray's legacy forward. The man who once drove an auto rickshaw is now going to drive the Maharashtra Sarkar for the next 2.5 years. Sena sunsets and Sainik's rise. The man who led the rebellion against Eknath Shinde is now the Chief Minister. Here's more.
From an auto rickshaw driver in Thane to the Chief Minister of India's wealthiest state, Eknath Shinde's ride to the top was not a smooth one by any stretch of imagination. Shinde was struck by tragedy when his political career was taking shape. He lost 2 of his children in a tragic accident. His 11-year-old son Deepesh and 7-year-old daughter Shubda drowned in front of his eyes in Satara. After the accident, Shinde became a recluse and contemplated quitting politics. But his mentor Anand Dighe, Shiv Sena's mass leader from Thane, convinced him to remain in active politics. Dighe gave Shinde a seat in the Thane municipal body. When Dighe died, the mantle to build Sena in Thane fell on Shinde. In 2004, Balasaheb Thackeray gave him a ticket in the assembly elections. Shinde won. Loyalty is what served Shinde the most. He was loyal to Dighe. He was loyal to Balasaheb. And later he was loyal to Uddhav Thackeray when Balasaheb anointed the son his successor. When political heavyweights like Raj Thackeray and Narayan Rane rebelled and quit the party, Shinde stuck by Uddhav's side, bringing crowds to Sena rallies and ensuring the party writ ran in Thane and Navi Mumbai. And he was rewarded for that. Shinde was picked to be the leader of opposition and later urban development minister in his government by Uddhav. The word is that Shinde was Uddhav's nominee to be the CM when Sharad Pawar torpedoed the move and convinced the Shiv Sena chief to take up the job in 2019. Shinde's revolt naturally stunned Uddhav, especially when it came just days after the rebel had accompanied Aditya Thackeray to Ayodhya. Shinde's rise to the top stunned even his family. This when his only surviving son, Shrikant, is a member of parliament.
काय वाटतंय आनंद होतो एवढ्या वर्ष साहेबांनी कष्ट केले घटना वाढवली आनंद होतो दादा आप बताओ कितनी खुशी हो रही है
बहुत हम लोग बता भी नहीं सकते इतनी खुशी हुई है हम लोग पहले तो विश्वास नहीं हुआ लेकिन अभी कंफर्म बहुत अच्छा लगा
जैसा तुम्हारा चैनल के माध्यम से सीएम बन रहे हैं तो जैसा मैंने घर में बताया ये अभिनंदन किया भाभी का कि अपना भाई मुख्यमंत्री बन गए
The crafty politician that he is, Shinde would know he has got a crown of thorns. But then, Shinde has weathered many storms to reach the summit. The auto driver turned politician's ability to navigate the roadblocks will decide how long he stays there. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the last shot, you have Eknath Shinde holding his grandson there. His son, viewers, is an MP from Kalyan. But I'm going to take you right now back to the Raj Bhavan. Lots of twists, turns, which have taken place through the course of the last 1 week. Befitting it was the last 2 hours of this political thriller. Because as the developments climaxed, surprises thrown in. Nobody expected Eknath Shinde to be named the Chief Minister. Everyone thought he's going to be taking oath as the Deputy CM. Well, he was announced as the Chief Minister by none else than Devendra Fadnavis. In an hour and a half, you have the President of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. JP Nadda, tweeting out and speaking to the press, saying that Devendra Fadnavis is going to be the Deputy CM. Now, Devendra Fadnavis in the press conference had said he's going to be assisting the government from the outside. What caused him then to get on stage and take oath as the Deputy CM? Twists and turns, and the plot kept changing in the last 2 minutes, befitting what the last week has been in this political thriller in Maharashtra. But hopefully this would be the climax image, the final chapter right now playing out. I want to cut across to my colleague Moshmi, who joins us from the Raj Bhavan. Moshmi, you know, it's really interesting. I want to come back to the last bit on what happened. Devendra Fadnavis in a press conference announced as a huge surprise to everyone that it would be Eknath Shinde who would be taking oath as Chief Minister and he'd be assisting the government from outside. Then you had JP Nadda, Amit Shah tweeting out saying that Devendra Fadnavis is going to take oath as the Deputy CM. And then you had Deputy CM Devendra Fadnavis taking oath. Now these twists, turns, what happened? Was he a little miffed? What went down behind the stage?
Preeti, just when we thought that the Maharashtra political drama had enough of its twists and turns, there was another, googly that was thrown, and it was like an anti-climax of climaxes because Devendra Fadnavis had been at the helm of affairs, and I was right there in the press conference when Devendra Fadnavis announced Eknath Shinde. Interesting how the optics played out, because Eknath Shinde was sitting on the right of Devendra Fadnavis, and here behind me, that the chairs you see, still 3 chairs on the right of the governor of Maharashtra was Eknath Shinde. So he was the front on the front line, and here Devendra Fadnavis, when he announced the name, Eknath Shinde said it is his badappan, and thereafter, a request by JP Nadda, a confirmation of a tweet by Home Minister Amit Shah actually turned the entire story into a climax of sorts, with Devendra Fadnavis walking in second in the Raj Bhavan. First it was Eknath Shinde, who had a crowd of leaders buzzing around him, and then Eknath Shinde walked in, Devendra Fadnavis walked in, and he was talking on the phone, and he walked all the way across the gallery to meet Eknath Shinde. So that's the story. It's had enough of twists and turns. At the end of the day, perhaps I could sense the sentiment in the BJP leaders who were present. They were a bit disappointed, and they were not aware that Devendra Fadnavis would announce the name of Eknath Shinde. So really, they were disappointed. We could see the body language of Devendra Fadnavis. He didn't look really happy or exuberant, having achieved the feat that he did. And even in the morning, the Maharashtra Maharashtra BJP tweeted indicating that Devendra Fadnavis will come back, and his statement when he was resigning came true. So even the Maharashtra BJP was not aware of this. And finally, the grand finale is over, but the story has started, Preeti, because 2.5 years, if this is the starting point, it will be a very tight rope that the BJP and the rebel Shiv Sena, or the real Shiv Sena, that only the time will decide, will have to walk.
Well, is it curtains down on what has been this massive political thriller, Moshmi? Well, I don't quite know, because we all thought the curtains were down when both Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis had gone on to meet the governor. But right now, at least that's what it looks like. If anyone, one could say, this is the shape-shifting politics in the state of Maharashtra has stumped all. My colleague Moshmi elucidating not just, our viewers or even the press, but even BJP leaders who were sitting right there in that press conference. Most of them thought that Devendra Fadnavis is going to announce himself as the Chief Minister and Eknath Shinde as his deputy. Moshmi, stay with me. I'm going to cut across right now to our panelists this evening. Moshmi's been reporting from the Raj Bhavan, getting us a minute-to-minute update. And believe me, it's been minute-to-minute, especially the last minute when that third chair was put in for Devendra Fadnavis to take oath as Deputy CM. I have with me Shazia Ilmi from the Bharatiya Janata Party, spokesperson. I have Supriya Srinath, spokesperson, Congress. Appreciate both of you for joining us. Congratulations, Ms. Ilmi. You have a government in place in the state of Maharashtra. But, the big question, and I'm sure, every BJP spokesperson would be asked, what changed in the matter of the last 2 hours? Devendra Fadnavis comes, announces, saying that he's going to be assisting this government from the outside. Eknath Shinde is the Chief Minister. And suddenly in 2 hours, a third chair is put, stumping all, even your own leaders in Maharashtra, and he takes oath as deputy.
So first of all, I would like to congratulate the people of Maharashtra. Finally, their will, exercised through their vote, and the overall mandate has prevailed. And the parties they voted for, BJP and Shiv Sena, the pre-poll alliance, the alliance that has been there, one of the oldest alliance, in fact, for which they voted for, has finally come to power, as it were. So this is a great victory for them. So I accept the congratulations that you offered to me and deflect it and pass it on to all of my friends in the state of Maharashtra, who actually finally got the government that they voted for. So this is great for them. So this is a big moment for them. So 2.5 years too late, but finally you have it. Secondly, I don't know about the body language, so I didn't really notice the bodies or the body language of the BJP leaders as your correspondent Moshmi was. But Devendra Fadnavis is a tall, wonderful, brilliant leader from Maharashtra, and that he offered with all the generosity of spirit, the CM-ship to Eknath Shinde, not just keeping alive the memory of Bala Sahab, but actually paying a true homage to what he stood for, and to what the idea and ideals of Sambhaji, Chhatrapati Sambhaji was. I think it's true testimony. So I think it's just such a great day, and I think truly it means that when you give up,
Ms. Ilmi, I'm going to come in, and Mr. Nate, I'm going to just come in. The reason which Sharad Pawar holding a press conference right now, just listening.
Network issue.
So are just ready to address the press conference anytime right now. It clearly a surprise, especially how the post of the Chief Minister and the Deputy CM came together. But it was a surprise for most BJP leaders in the state of Maharashtra, which come from the BJP unit. Would be a huge surprise for the Maha Vikas Aghadi, or the erstwhile Maha Vikas Aghadi as well. What's also interesting here, viewers, is if you hark back, just 2 days ago, Uddhav Thackeray held a press conference and he had asked the rebels, you can do what you want, but will the next CM be a Shiv Sainik? Well, in this move, he is a Shiv Sainik. Eknath Shinde is a Shiv Sainik, and he is now the Maharashtra Chief Minister. Pictures of him filtering in from the Raj Bhavan a short while ago, holding his grandson in his hand. We're going to play those pictures again, but right now standing with his deputy. Now, would he remain the deputy, or will the deputy be an official position, but the remote control be with the Bharatiya Janata Party in this alliance, natural alliance, what many would suggest, between the Shiv Sena of the Eknath Shinde faction and the Bharatiya Janata Party. All right, let's listen in to Sharad Pawar speaking to the media. All right, not yet, but reactions filtering in on that account. The Maha Vikas Aghadi, the erstwhile Maha Vikas Aghadi, would be as surprised by the decisions as they've taken place in the last 2 hours. Lots of twists and turns. Would have clearly thrown off the NCP, the Congress and the Shiv Sena as well on that account. All right, we're going to cut across to Sharad Pawar in just a short while. Rajdeep Sardesai, consulting editor who's been tracking all these developments, is joining us live from our studio in Mumbai. Rajdeep, who would have guessed how things turned out?
You know, Harold Wilson, the former British Prime Minister, once said, a week is a long time in politics. He clearly hadn't done politics in India. Here 12 hours, sometimes even 3 hours can be a long time. You know, at 4 o'clock it appeared, game, set and match, Devendra Fadnavis, Chief Minister, Eknath Shinde to be Deputy Chief Minister, both of them walking together to the Raj Bhavan to stake claim. And guess what? An hour later, out comes Devendra Fadnavis at a press conference, says, I'm not going to be Chief Minister, Eknath Shinde is going to be Chief Minister. In fact, I'm going to stay out of the government and I will support it fully from the outside. 2 hours later, what happens? JP Nadda orders virtually Devendra Fadnavis to take over as Deputy Chief Minister, where there was one chair, another chair is added in the Raj Bhavan. It's quite dramatic. I've seen a lot of drama, especially in Maharashtra politics, given what happened in November 2019, but this almost beats it all. To think that someone who was certain to become Chief Minister now is Deputy Chief Minister working under the same person who was the PWD Minister under Devendra Fadnavis' government. So look at how times have changed. Eknath Shinde couldn't have imagined, I believe, when this rebellion took place, that he'd actually be Chief Minister. I don't think that was part of the script. The script was to bring down the government of Uddhav Thackeray. Now the BJP, Preeti, I think, has decided we brought down Uddhav Thackeray's government, but we need to help Eknath Shinde in a larger battle to finish off the so-called Thackeray Sena. And that's why I think Eknath Shinde has been projected, because the BJP wants to use the opportunity, A, to show we are not greedy for power, we want greedy for the Chief Minister's chair, and B, to also send out a message that we are a party that supports the real Sainiks and not the Thackeray Sainiks, because that's going to be the next big battle in Maharashtra come the Bombay Municipal Corporation elections, the Thackeray Sainiks versus the Shinde Sainiks.
You're right there, Rajdeep, and you know, to put perspective on what Uddhav Thackeray said 2 days ago, will the next Chief Minister be a Shiv Sainik? Well, he is a Shiv Sainik, and the BJP has answered that question for the Shiv Sainiks. Just stay with me, Rajdeep. I want to cut across to Sharad Pawar. Well, if even BJP leaders didn't have even an inkling of what's going to go down in terms of who will be the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister, let's listen to Sharad Pawar.
Well, एकदा आदेश झाला आणि सत्तेची कोणतीही संधी मिळाली त्याची स्वीकारायची असते, याचं उदाहरण देवेंद्र फडणवीस यांनी आज घालून दिलेलं आहे. या दोन्ही गोष्टी आम्हा कोणाला काही तुम्हाला कोणालाच माहीत नव्हत्या, पण असं घडलं तर ते अंमलात येतं आणि ते येईल, आणि ते अंमलात येण्याच्यासाठी कुणी नकार अथवा प्रतिक्रिया देईल असं कधी वाटलं नव्हतं, आणि ते खरं ठरलं.
We had not expected that the Shiv Sena would implode in the manner that it did.
की एकदा मुख्यमंत्री पदावर गेल्याच्या नंतर त्याच यंत्रणेतली अन्य पदं स्वीकारण्याच्या संबंधीची उदाहरणं महाराष्ट्रात यापूर्वी होती. माझ्या मंत्रिमंडळामध्ये शंकरराव चव्हाण माझे अर्थमंत्री होते,
Mr. Pawar is talking about the time when he was a chief minister with the likes of Shankar Rao Chavan and other leaders who worked under him. He is going back into the past really, about how those who had been chief ministers before him actually worked under him. He's probably drawing a parallel with what's happened with Eknath Shinde here today, where someone who has become chief minister will have people like Devendra Fadnavis, under whom Eknath Shinde had worked earlier.
सध्याचे जे मंत्री होते आमचे सहकारी तेही आपल्याला ठाऊक आहे मुख्यमंत्री होते. मंत्रिपदाची जबाबदारी त्यांनी इथं स्वीकारली आणि त्यामुळे
he is referring to the fact that Shankar Rao Chavan worked as a minister under Sharad Pawar, even though he was chief minister before Mr. Pawar. And he is drawing. So therefore he is saying that what has happened with Devendra Fadnavis has not surprised him. This has happened in the past, that someone who has been chief minister then becomes deputy chief minister. Shankar Rao Chavan was a chief minister of Maharashtra in the 70s and became a minister in the 80s under Mr. Pawar.
अनेक वर्ष ठाण्याला त्यांचं सार्वजनिक जीवनात त्यांचं काम आहे, पण ते मूळ सातारा जिल्ह्यातल्या महाबळेश्वर तालुक्यातले आहेत. योगायोग असा आहे की महाराष्ट्र राज्य झाल्याच्या नंतर पहिले मुख्यमंत्री यशवंतराव चव्हाण हे सातारचे होते. त्याच्यानंतरच्या काळामध्ये मी म्हणणं योग्य नाही, पण मी मुख्यमंत्री झालो. माझे मूळ गाव सातारा जिल्ह्यातल्या कोरेगाव तालुक्यामध्ये. तिथून आम्ही वारावंती.
Now of course he is referring to the tradition that several chief ministers have come from the Satara region. Remember, that's where Eknath Shinde also comes from, referring to the first chief minister of Maharashtra after the formation of the Maharashtra state, Yashwantrao Chavan, also coming in from Maharashtra.
सातारा जिल्ह्याचेच होते. त्यामुळे सातारा जिल्ह्याला सुद्धा लॉटरी लागली असं म्हणलं तर त्याच्यामध्ये काही अतिशयोक्ती होणार नाही.
He is saying Satara district has got a lottery, has struck a lottery with the chief minister being from, with so many chief ministers coming from the district.
आज एकनाथ शिंदेंच्या जी जबाबदारी पडली, त्यांचा माझं फोनवर बोलणं झालं. मी त्यांना शुभेच्छा दिल्या आणि अपेक्षा अशी आहे की एकदा राज्याचा प्रमुख झाल्याच्या नंतर तो राज्याचा होतो, कुठल्या तरी पक्षाचा प्रतिनिधी असेल, पण शपथ घेतल्याच्या नंतर तो राज्याचा प्रतिनिधी होतो, राज्याचा प्रमुख होतो आणि राज्याच्या सर्व विभागाच्या लोकांचे रास्त प्रश्न सोडवण्याच्यासाठी त्यांच्याकडून कामगिरी व्हावी अशी अपेक्षा माझ्यासारख्याची आहे आणि मी त्यांना बोलून दाखवली आणि त्यासाठी अंतःकरणापासून त्यांना मी शुभेच्छा दिल्या. ठीक आहे.
हे सगळं म्हणजे आज घडलेलं त्याच्यावर तुमचं विश्लेषण आहे.
So that is
राज्यामधलं महाविकास आघाडी सरकार कोसळलं, कुठे त्रुटी राहिली, कुठे चूक झाली, कुठे कमी पडलो, असं काही साधारणपणे सांगता येईल?
Is being asked, where did the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi fail?
शिवसेनेतल्या लोकांना बाहेर राहायला प्रभावित ठरले. It was more effective. प्रभावी 40-38 आमदार बाहेर राहतात, ती काही साधी गोष्ट नाही. आणि ती नेण्याच्या संबंधीची कुवत ही शिंदेंनी दाखवली, त्याच्यातच त्यांचं यश आहे.
पण हे अचानकपणे घडलं असं तुम्हाला वाटतं का? नियोजनबद्ध किंवा काही कालावधीपासून, आधीपासून काही टप्प्याटप्प्याने याची आखणी केली गेली?
All right, let's quickly encapsulate what Sharad Pawar, the NCP leader, just addressing a press conference, in a way congratulating the new government, saying Maharashtra is blessed of having so many chief ministers from Satara. But what's pertinent and important and possibly operative, Rajdeep, and I'll pull you in on this, is when Sharad Pawar said that Shiv Sena MLAs did not rebel to make Eknath Shinde as Deputy CM of Maharashtra. They wanted Eknath Shinde as Chief Minister of Maharashtra. It's quite interesting because, you know, maybe it is the master politician that Mr. Pawar is. There seems to be acceptance of what has really gone down.
Look, Sharad Pawar has no love lost for Devendra Fadnavis. Devendra Fadnavis was the person, when he was Chief Minister, there were cases that were filed against Mr. Pawar, and you will recall Mr. Pawar had to appear before the Enforcement Directorate. Cases were filed against Ajit Pawar, and Mr. Sharad Pawar has always believed that Devendra Fadnavis was trying to finish off the NCP. A number of NCP leaders ahead of the 2019 elections switched over to the BJP. So with, in a way, Devendra Fadnavis, now Deputy Chief Minister, which is being interpreted here in Mumbai as a downsizing. However, the BJP now will pitch this. The fact is, on the ground in Mumbai, political observers are seeing this as a downsizing of Devendra Fadnavis. To make him Deputy Chief Minister after having 106 BJP MLAs in a government led by Eknath Shinde, who has 39 Sena MLAs, is being seen in some form as a very unusual arrangement. Because surely there was no pressure on the BJP not to make Fadnavis the Chief Minister. Why did the Fadnavis experiment collapse in 2019 November? Because at that stage, it was the Shiv Sena led by Uddhav Thackeray which was saying, we want power sharing, 2.5 years each. And that was unacceptable to the BJP in November of 2019. So what was unacceptable in 2019 to make a Shiv Sainik a Chief Minister becomes acceptable in June of 2022. What's changed? The only thing that has changed is that I think the BJP believes that they had to end this Maha Vikas Aghadi experiment, bring down this government, and then capture the political space of the Shiv Sena. That's the agenda. And therefore, Eknath Shinde becomes the Chief Minister. He is the face of this Sena rebellion, but the puppeteers are in Delhi. This plan may have been executed in Mumbai, but has been planned in Delhi by the BJP leadership. And they seem to believe that Devendra Fadnavis as Deputy Chief Minister, in a sense, can be a check on Eknath Shinde, but at the same time, the BJP wants to first finish off the Shiv Sena Thackeray. That's their first objective. That's what Eknath Shinde will be used for in the months ahead.
But, you know, stay on with me, Rajdeep. I'll quickly cut across back to Shazia Ilmi. We also have Supriya Shrinesh. Shazia, you know, that's the question. 2.5 years ago, the reason why Uddhav Thackeray, Shiv Sena at that point of time walked out of your alliance was on the basis of the 2.5 years of power sharing. Nothing's quite changed this time around. What's changed? You could have done the same thing 2.5 years ago.
Not really. Things have changed drastically. And who would know that Shiv Sena would actually join hands with Congress and Sharad Pawar and NCP, the sworn enemies. I mean, they actually fought, and if you see, not being together at the corporation elections, but fighting Vidhan Sabha together is very different. And going to the people and seeking our mandate and getting the mandate from the people on the basis of an alliance which is with the BJP, and then going back on it. And BJP emerging as the single largest party with an already existing alliance, pre-poll alliance with Shiv Sena, and then Shiv Sena backing out and creating just a unique, unholy alliance ideologically and in every other sense of the word, just to be in power. Only thanks to Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Seniks now, we can call them rebel, you can call them the real. It depends on which perspective it is. Rajdeep's, yours, mine, you know, whoever, Maharashtra citizens. So different people, different perspectives, you know, different strokes for different folks. But the fact of the matter is that the MLAs themselves felt that it was untenable. They could not carry on. And 2.5 years later, they decided they don't want to carry on. And now it is Devendra Fadnavis. You can call it downsizing, upsizing, deputy CM. But the fact of the matter is that the Aghadi is gone, and that we have respected Shiv Sena with lesser seats and have ensured that the CM of Shiv Sena stays, having had many more seats than them.
But they wouldn't have been the question.
That says a lot. This is generosity of spirit and magnanimity of spirit.
All right,
in every sense of the term.
But the Maha Vikas Aghadi
recognize that.
Okay, Ms. Ilmi, but the Maha Vikas Aghadi would not have even come together if the BJP would have conceded to the demands that you're conceding to right now. You've made a Shiv Sainik the Chief Minister, right? You could have done this 2.5 years ago. But stay with me. Can I please pull in Supriya Srinate into this conversation? Ms. Srinate, you know, what is the future of the Congress in all of this right now? Yes, you've kept your lot together, all 44 of you in the Maharashtra unit, but going up to 2024, don't you see that usually regional parties have grown at your expense, now the BJP there? What happens to your MLAs? Won't they be the most vulnerable going ahead from here on?
No, I think before I answer your question, and I hope I will be offered the same courtesy by the BJP spokesperson that I offered her, I think there are 2 or 3 things that are not being spoken about this evening. Everybody in the BJP is saying, yes, the original mandate is coming to power. अगर ऐसा था तो 23 नवंबर 2019 को सुबह 5:30 बजे फडणवीस जी ने अजीत पवार जी के साथ ओथ क्यों ली थी? What was the original mandate then? This is naked pursuit for power. And you are doing it at the behest of absolute brazen money power and of course your agencies. ये ED की सरकार है. This is an ED government. This has been formed due to ED, and I'll tell you why do I say that. Whether it is Sachin Joshi or Pratap Sarnayak or Yashwant Jadhav or Mr. Shinde himself, they all face ED probe. I want to understand what happens from here on. Will they see the same thing? बीजेपी में आ गए हैं तो सारे दाग धुल जाएंगे सर से, अब ईडी की कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होगी, like Mr. Hemant Biswa Sarma or for that matter Narayan Rane. I want to understand. This is an ED Sarkar. I also want to point out very categorically here, Devendra Fadnavis categorically said he does not want to be a part of this government. He was then ordered, and the tweet that he has just put out saying, मैं एक कार्यकर्ता हूँ, मैं order का पालन कर रहा हूँ. There is a lot of infighting and there are serious issues within the BJP Maharashtra that the BJP spokespersons are not talking about. And I'm sorry to say the media is not asking those questions. We must. I also want to say one last thing here. I think Uddhav Thackeray ran a successful government. He waded through one of the biggest crises that this country has seen very successfully, especially in Maharashtra, badly hit. The future of the Shinde camp is that the BJP wants to finish you. You don't realize it today, but you will 2.5 years from now. Because the BJP has always grown at the behest of its allies. Whether it's the Shiromani Akali Dal or the JDU, a similar fate awaits you, and which is exactly why Mr. Thackeray had moved away from the BJP.
All right, okay, but Ms. Srinate, you know, the fact is, the media is not answering to one second. Okay, I'm going to time out.
You asked me a question.
Time out. I'm going to come to you, Ms. Ilmi. But
you asked me a question.
I did ask you a question, and you know, it's unfair. You know, we began the news broadcast asking the same questions that you've posed today. That's what we asked Shazia Ilmi. That's what we did right in the beginning. But we asked you a question as well, Ms. Srinate. What about the Congress here? You'll be the most vulnerable. It's known to have happened before.
Absolutely. No, I don't think we are vulnerable at all. I think our MLAs have stuck together, and I think both Mr. Pawar's NCP and we have stood rock solid with Uddhav Thackeray and his party, because he has shown a model of governance which is what Maharashtra needs. We will now see what happens, because this is an ED government. I think the Congress on the ground is going to talk about issues of the people. We are going to now call out the misgovernance of a government that's coming in, because this is exactly a government that has been put in place at the behest of agencies and money. Okay. And we will see how that functions. This government itself will be torn at various levels, both by Mr. Fadnavis being the deputy and Mr. Shinde being the CM. I think the Congress in its position will do all it takes to voice the concerns of the people of Maharashtra, like we always have.
All right, okay. Ms. Ilmi wanted to come in for a rebuttal, so come in, ma'am. You wanted to respond to Supriya Srinate, but
I think Ms. Srinate can curse and wish bad luck instead of congratulating and be as much as a loser. You know, I just wish all your cursing doesn't come true. I just want to, you can, all your negativity, you can keep it to yourself, ma'am. I don't want to take any of that. You can keep it with yourself. I refuse to be a part of it. But what I want to say is that whether it's infighting or not, whether it's an order or not, the fact is that, and even Sharad Pawarji just mentioned, so politics also is an art of the impossible and making it possible. And if he wanted to stay out, as Devendra
stealing mandates,
let's go one by one. Madam, accord the same privilege to each other. I'm going to just come in also. What Mr. Sharad Pawar has done, viewers, has made a call to the new Chief Minister of Maharashtra, congratulating him. Understandably, this is protocol, this is politics, but complete what you were saying, Ms. Ilmi.
Yes, so I would like to ask our friend here to calm down a bit and not intervene, please. So the point I was making is whether you call it infighting or you want to see it from any point of view, any perspective whatsoever, the fact of the matter is that nobody takes the CM position so seriously. There are no pedaishi CMs. If you see all the CMs, whether it's Khattar ji or whether it's Devendra Fadnavis ji, nobody had even heard their names before they became CMs, or whether it's Jairam Thakur ji. So this is how the party works. You see, BJP is intrinsically different from the Congress. It cannot be like, what all we've seen happen in, let's say, Rajasthan. It would never happen in BJP. It's just not how the party works. So if he says he'll support from outside, he will support from outside, as he said. And it's not that it's like being done against his will. He would do it happily. And if Nadda ji feels that no, it's not fair, and he should indeed take the position of Deputy CM, it's not that how can I work under that? It would also be as a Karyakarta. And it's not that it's his own free will as a CM. It is in accordance with the particular policy, of the centre.
Okay.
So, so this is how it works.
Ms. Ilmi,
not like,
it's an
ad hoc arrangement.
Ms. Ilmi, you talk about the policy of the centre. There was a charge that was laid by Ms. Srinate, where she says, will now, what the Congress calls the washing machine effect, will that go down with the likes of many of the Shiv Sena leaders, which includes Mr. Shinde himself, where there were various multiple central agencies investigating them? It's happened in the case of Narayan Rane, where Maharashtra is concerned. It's happened in the case of Himanta Biswa Sarma. It's happened in the case of Suvendu Adhikari in West Bengal.
No, whatever the cases are against them or against anybody would be pursued as they were. They would not be pursued with more vigor only because they are in this party or the other. No. So, which is why, and I wonder why Ms. Srinate, after cursing, now cackles, because I can't get, because people ask us, why is nothing being done with the Vadras? Why is it taking so long for Modi ji not to do anything about the Gandhis? Because you see, the case is going on.
Okay.
So that's why the same logic. So the same logic is used.
All right, I don't get it. Dipping into news break right now. Well, the newly minted Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has chaired his first cabinet meeting. It's interesting what the cabinet is right now, because there would be a new cabinet clearly. So it remains to be seen what meeting he's chaired. But yes, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has convened and chaired his first cabinet meeting. The portfolios would be given out, cabinet berths will be given out in the next days to come, and it's not going to be easy, viewers, because will not the BJP want its pound of flesh, where what is considered as heavyweight portfolios, be it finance, urban development, home, all of that coming into play. The BJP would want a lion chunk of this, and I'm sure Eknath Shinde has promised his rebel camp their pound of flesh. So it's not going to be very easy, but right now Eknath Shinde has chaired his first cabinet meeting. The new Maharashtra government has reviews. All right, we're going to play all that news break coming in. I want to cut across back to Supriya Srinate, who wanted to make a point. Go ahead, Ms. Srinate.
इतनी मासूमियत है इनकी कि ऐसे ही केस चलते रहेंगे. The cases go from Reddy brothers to Yediyurappa to Hemanta Biswa Sarma to Mukul Roy, who came and went away, to Suvendu Adhikari. It's a long list, to Narayan Rane. The cases have closed. They have gone on the back burner because they've all joined the BJP. Ganga naha ke aa gaye wo log. Sarv se dhul gaye wo log. Forget about that. She mentioned something interesting and I want to specifically speak on that and then end my answer. Politics is the art of the impossible. Oh, certainly it is. Where you do not have a democratically elected mandate, you will steal it with your agencies and money power. Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Goa earlier, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya.
One by one. Please let's go one by one. Let her finish her come to you. Madam, I'm coming to you. May I just get to Mr. Nate?
Don't speak in between.
Yeah, accord the same privilege to either.
Don't speak in between, please.
Mr. Nate, make your point.
I'm only asking one question. If this is the mandate you are respecting now, why were you disrespecting the mandate on the 23rd of November 2019 when at 5:30 in the morning Mr. Fadnavis got sworn in with another gentleman who was not from the Sena or from the BJP? तो या तो तब झूठ और पाखंड कर रहे थे या अब झूठ और पाखंड कर रहे हैं. So चित भी मेरी और पट भी मेरी नहीं चलेगी. Horse trading तो अब आपकी
Okay, Miss Nate, okay, may I?
Horse trading पर.
Okay, Mr. Nate, may I now come in? You posed your question. Miss Ilmi, if it was all about principles and morality, what happened in 2019, madam?
So, yeah, exactly what happened in 2019? I want to ask you, what happened in 2019?
Ma'am, are you asking me?
So, yeah, I'm asking you, what happened in 2019?
Ma'am, Devendra Fadnavis went to oath with
pre-poll alliance.
Ajit Pawar.
There is a pre-poll.
Right, go ahead.
No, but before that, what happened? Before Ajit Pawar. That happened later. What happened before that?
All right, you're talking about how the power was yours with Shiv Sena.
Yes,
is that 2019?
What happened before that?
Yes. Okay, madam, make your point. Okay, make your point.
So be quiet and learn to listen. You can't always cackle and curse.
Let's just go one by one. Yes, Miss Ilmi, make your point.
So learn to speak decently and calmly. First of all, whether it's Karnataka or Maharashtra, BJP was the single largest party. And not just that, it was not just the single largest party in 2019, it was also the single largest alliance. So when so as per the BOMAI recommendations, you invite the single largest party and then the single largest alliance. What happened? Because of Shiv Sena pulling out and making this alliance, Uddhav Thackeray rather, and you see what came out of it, how well that turned out. The second incident of this crisis that was created.
Answer a simple question.
The crisis of greed.
If this is the mandate, what was that? That's all that I'm asking you. You're struggling to answer a simple question.
Why? What happened with Ajit Pawar? Was it Ajit Pawar promised?
Talking about
I'm answering you. I'm answering you.
Struggling.
All right.
Because you know
nobody can hear anyone. Ladies, I'm going to bow to this debate with your permission.
In one state after the other, you are undermining democracy.
Miss Ilmi, Mr. Nate.
No. You can't.
Miss Ilmi, Mr. Nate. Appreciate, madam. Madam, with both your permission, I'm going to bow out of this debate. Appreciate both of you for joining us. We're going to, taking it further from here would be Rajdeep Sarvasai, our consulting editor, who's going to be joining us from Mumbai. The focus now, of course, viewers, is going to be the survival of the Thackeray's where the Shiv Sena is concerned. Was this all orchestrated to completely crush the Thackeray's? Going from here.